Democracy Forum has also been active in advocating the principles of democracy, namely that it must be grown and developed based on internal initiative, homegrown, that it upholds the values of pluralism and diversity, and that it must be inclusive. Over the years, the Bali Democracy Forum has succeeded in making democracy a strategic agenda in the Asia Pacific. It has encouraged countries to establish a balance between economic and political development, between creating peace and political development, between peace and security and promoting human rights and fundamental freedom, as well as respecting humanitarian values, all of which are reflected in the three founding pillars of the United Nations Assembly. This year, the 14th Bali Democracy Forum, bearing a theme, Democracy for Humanity, Advancing Economic and Social Justice During the Pandemic, is organized today, 9th of December 2021, in Nusa Dua, Bali, in a hybrid format. There have been 4 discussion sessions with themes addressing poverty, addressing inequality, advancing inclusivity, and also the cross-pillar discussion. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the closing session will commence shortly, please take your seat. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, the closing session of the 14th Bali Democracy Forum will now commence. We kindly invite the Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Ambassador Mahendra Siregar, to deliver the closing remarks.
It's certainly been a long day for all of you, and I will just use my 3 minutes and we can all go to the next program wherever you plan or whatever you do. Om Swastiastu, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace with us all. Very good afternoon. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege for me to convey the closing remarks of the 14th Bali Democracy Forum. Allow me to express my gratitude and appreciation to all speakers and participants for your active and invaluable contributions. I believe that we had a fruitful and constructive discussion in today's forum. Prior to the discussion today, the road to the 14th BDF began in October with a series of activities in 3 main pillars, namely the Bali Civil Society and Media Forum, the Bali Democratic Student Conference, and the economic pillar or the panel of inclusive economy. We have heard opinions, insights, and recommendations from the government and various elements of the society, particularly civil society, media, students, youth, and the private sector. The previous BDF has discussed the way we govern to find the correct balance between protecting democratic values and introducing emergency measures to mitigate the pandemic. This means that this year's BDF has advanced in finding concrete avenues and ideas to further promote and strengthen democracy, while rebuild better, stronger together in the new normal. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, a stronger democratic architecture is indispensable in the region while promoting social and economic justice for all in navigating our way of this pandemic and building sustainable recovery. In that direction, let me share with you some of the takeaways from the road to 14 BDF, as well as from today's discussion. First, equality is mandatory for the recovery process. We have to encourage that all elements of society work together while upholding democratic norms and values in addressing the adverse impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. The utmost importance is to ensure equal access to vaccines to combat the growing global vaccination gap. In addition to that, we need to revisit and improve the global value chain effectiveness of many products and services, particularly health-related. Putting all eggs in one basket has been considered not only an acceptable risk for humanity, but also from business and investment propositions as non-sustainable. The various measures against the COVID-19 teach us very good and humbling lesson that recovery must be based on the principle of humanity, which emphasizes inclusive policy involving everyone and benefiting all. Second, sustainable and inclusive recovery policies can only be achieved if we successfully empower and promote equal opportunities for women, youth, and people with disabilities. This includes access to education for all, such as literacy and know-how on finance, digital world, and entrepreneurship. Mainstreaming of gender perspective shall be the heart of the overall policies and decision-making processes. In striving to achieve social recovery and empowerment of these elements of society, we need to provide social protection to achieve a more resilient post-pandemic society of the new normal. Third, we have to work together to expedite our economic recovery and build a stronger economic resilience. At the regional level, our priority is to reactivate the region's economy. We must jumpstart regional connectivity and promote safe movement of people in the region. At the same time, we have to identify ways to better integrate our economies into the global supply chain. And of course, lastly, let us go beyond the horizon and look at the way forward for promoting democracy in the new normal. We should continue building a strong synergy and concerted efforts between state and civil society, including media, students, and the private sector, in complementing and reinforcing each other. The social capital will consequently mobilize resources to deliver services to the people. Let me close the forum by bringing us back to the situation in Bali. The reality of challenges that Bali is still very much facing today as a real test case for sustainable recovery in the new normal. The vaccination rate of the island of having 2 jabs of vaccines has reached 70%, 70, much higher than the rest of the country, which is still around 40%, 40. However, Bali economy experienced minus 2.9% economic growth in the 3rd quarter of this year. That added to minus 12% in the same quarter last year, which means Bali economy today is almost 15% smaller than in 2019. Certainly one of the worst provinces if not the worst performance in Indonesia. Because the whole Indonesian economy is already 2 to 3% larger than the pre-pandemic level of 2019. Therefore, while it is considered that high vaccination rates are a prerequisite for recovery, coupled with social welfare programs, as well as equal, inclusive, creative, and innovative implementations, it is clearly not sufficient in themselves. Even almost after 2 years after the pandemic hit us. And if you ask hypothetical question to common Balinese, what would they choose between their life and livelihood? As religious person, many would answer that death is a certainty and as part of a normal cycle of life. And there's nothing unusual, extraordinary about it. But without livelihood, then the whole family, the whole village, the whole society would lose their real life. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, there is a saying, where there is a will, there's a way. Your participation in Bali Democracy Forum today describes our collective will to find ways to uphold democracy and overcome our common challenges in promoting this value. Our discussion to confront the challenges of the pandemic and its adverse impact is a reflection of our determination to not giving up and looking transformative ways to better prepare for our future. I thank you for all your constructive and active engagements, and I hope to see you again at the next and much better, prosperous, rebound, recovered Bali of the next Bali Democracy Forum. Thank you very much.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as we have come to the end of the 14th Bali Democracy Forum, we would like to thank you for your participation. We wish you a pleasant time, pleasant experience for the rest of your stay in Bali. May you have a good day. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om.